Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down a really powerful framework that gets to the heart of how some of the world's most influential leaders and organizations actually think, act, and communicate.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. Think about it. Have you ever wondered why you feel this real connection to certain brands, way beyond just the stuff they sell, or why some leaders just seem to connect with us on a deeper level, while others just don't?
Well, it turns out that most companies, most organizations, they all communicate in the exact same way. And honestly, it's often the least inspiring way possible. Sure, it's logical, it's safe, but it doesn't really build that connection we're talking about.
So, they start from the outside of the circle and work their way in. They tell us what they do. We make great computers. Simple enough. Then they might explain how they do it. They're beautifully designed, really easy to use. But the why, their real purpose, what they actually believe in, that's usually a total afterthought if they even mention it at all. And, that's the real problem here. This whole approach is perfectly clear, but it doesn't talk to the part of us that actually makes decisions. It's all about communicating features, not feelings. And because of that, it almost never inspires us to actually do anything.
But what if we just flip that whole model on its head? Well, that is exactly where Simen Sinek's golden circle comes into play. It's such a simple idea, but it perfectly explains why the most inspiring organizations all communicate from the inside out.
All right, so let's break this thing down. That outer circle, that's the what. And honestly, every single organization on the planet knows what they do. It's the easiest thing in the world to identify and talk about. Okay, moving in one layer, you've got the how. Now, some organizations know how they do what they do. This is their special sauce, their unique process, the stuff that makes them stand out from the competition. But right there, at the very heart of it all, that's the why. And this is where it gets really interesting. Very, very few organizations can clearly tell you why they do what they do. And look, this has nothing to do with making money. That's just a result. The why is the purpose, the cause, the core belief that gets everyone out of bed in the morning. And as it turns out, this is the most important part of the entire puzzle. And this all leads to a really powerful idea. See, the goal isn't to do business with everybody who needs what you have. No, the real goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. It's all about connecting on a level of shared purpose, not just selling a product.
Now this is where it gets really cool. This isn't just some clever marketing gimmick. Nope. This whole idea is actually rooted in human biology, in the way our brains are literally wired to make decisions.
So check this out. The golden circle, it maps almost perfectly onto the biology of the human brain. That outer what level, it corresponds to our neocortex. That's the part of our brain that's responsible for all the rational, analytical thought and language. But the why and the how, the inner circles, they speak directly to our limbic system.
And our limbic brain, well, that's where all the magic happens. It's in charge of all of our feelings, stuff like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior and all of our decision-making. But, and here's the kicker, it has zero capacity for language. This is literally where gut feelings come from. It's the reason why someone can show us all the facts and figures and we still end up making a decision that just feels right.
So, how does this biological wiring actually play out in the real world? With real brands and leaders we all know. Well, there's probably no better case study for this inside-out communication than Apple.
Okay, so if Apple were like pretty much everyone else, their pitch would start with the what. We make great computers, right? But that's not what they do. They start with why. They say, in everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. Then they move to the how. And the way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. It's only then that they finally get to the what. We just happen to make great computers. You can feel the difference, can't you? It's huge. We're not just buying a product anymore. We're buying into a cause, into a belief system. We're making a statement about who we are. The computer itself just becomes the tangible proof of that belief. And that is how you go from a single transaction to a lifetime of loyalty.
So when you really get down to it, the big takeaway here is that communicating from the inside out builds a real connection that's based on shared values. It speaks directly to that decision-making part of our brains, creating a bond that goes way, way beyond just features and price. It allows people to make a piece of your identity part of their own identity.
It's a fundamental shift in perspective that can apply to a company, a social movement, or, hey, even your own personal brand. Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.